Fanfare. Fanfare. Mucho grandioso fanfare. Fanfare. So much fanfare. We didn't even know how much fanfare we were fanfaring here in the Golden Age Pauldcast. It's the Golden Age Pauldcast, yo. Time for a radio show, yo. Yoba-doba, and go jump in the lake. That's right, my fine fathered friends. This here is what they refer to as the Golden Age Pauldcast, live and in effect from Erie, Pennsylvania, from the Cam Erie Studios. Go jump in the lake. Small talk sucks. Small talk sucks, y'all. We're not about that life. We're here in the Golden Age Pauldcast. I hope my levels are right. I feel like I'm a little staticky. But you know what? We're going to keep this going on the true DIY tip. Feel a little static. Static 3. Shout out to Josh Stewart, Captain Stubing. Anyway, that is the fanfare Pleiadian intro music, celestially produced for the ears of otherworldly beings. For the Pauldcast, the Golden Age has produced it thusly. And that's a musician called Cartridge, a producer/composer individual called Cartridge. That music can be found, download for free and losslessly at cartridge.bandcamp.com. Once again, this is PJ Cote. I'm talking to you live here from the Golden Age Pauldcast. As you could tell, the music was for the audio version because I decided today was a good for version for some aural pleasure, as I like to describe it in a weird, creepy way, for the Golden Age Pauldcast. I am joined by my cohort, guest, and interspecies life partner, Bella Ace. Bella Ace produces the show. She's a 6.5-pound Maltese poodle mix. She's pure white, but that doesn't mean she thinks, white makes right. She's just a dog. She doesn't identify as anything other than a pink-nosed white dog with brown eyes, and she probably identifies as a small, because she always wants to be picked up and be on your level because she's a small. And since I've been doing this comedy open mic, the Comedy As You Are, live from the Voodoo Brewery every Saturday night at 7, I've been bringing her up on stage with me because, you rescue an animal, or rather they rescue you. You have a responsibility to them to try to include them as much in your life as possible, and maybe that, to me, means bringing her up on stage with me while I do comedy. So if you're going to bring a dog on stage with you while you do comedy, you probably should have some dog jokes, or else you just kind of look like maybe a corny prop comedian with, like, a living marionette puppet or something. But, I do a few dog jokes, I guess I figured out, but the one I liked was one day I had brought Bella, or I'd left Bella and gone to a friend's house, and I didn't realize that person had other dogs. And so the place was just like crawling with other dogs. And Bella's looking at me right now, and I say, other dogs. She's like, other dog with those motherfuckers, other dogs, let me at them. And I get home, and as soon as I got in the house, I knew she was going to give me the triple sniff. I knew she was going to be wondering what was up. So, it was weird because I felt just like a cheating husband would, like when they came home from like the strip club or whatever, or cheating on their wife. They just get home and immediately take all their clothes off and put them in the laundry, and then like take a long hot shower. Then they come out like, hopefully all the lipstick stains are off their neck or whatever. I felt exactly the same way with my dog. I like stripped off all my clothes, took a shower, and as soon as I got out, I'm like, hi Bella, and she's like, give me like this triple sniff. I'm like, ah, shit, she's on to me. And it's like, turns out that, dog's sense of smell is between 10,000, 100,000 times stronger than our sense of smell. So what does that tell us? Well, it tells us that, that's like a superpower for them. It's like drugs for them. Like, no wonder they want to go out in the car. It must have been like freebasing, like sniff cocaine, like just like scent blow. Like just, chasing the dragon, like 10 different buzzes at once, like hippie flipping on frickin' scent. And here's Bella with her head out the window. But like she's triple sniffing me, right? And I can tell like she's so good. She's like, I smell 2 chocolate labs, a miniature schnauzer, and a goddamn German shepherd. What is your problem? Who are you? I don't even know you. And then she wouldn't kiss me for 4 days. I swear to God. I was like, Bella, come here. Give me a kiss. And she was like, psh, go jump in the lake, fool. Bella, like, is turned away from me while I'm telling this story because she's, like, reminiscing on the time that I cheated on her by going to an apartment with other dogs. She's a fickle little creature. Isn't she just my dog? So I have a good life with her. We pretty much do everything together every day. My name is PJ Cote, and this is the Golden Age Pauldcast. And we're doing the comedy every Saturday night at the Voodoo, so we'd love to have you down there. It's comedy as you are, which means there's no rules, there's no vetting. You just come in there, you try your best, you tell a story, tell a lie, tell a joke, fabricate, fib. Do a funny voice, do like the one impression you know how to do. If you can scrunch your face up to look like De Niro, you go up and do that for 30 seconds and then walk away. Like, I don't care. It's an open mic. That means it's open. What part of open mic did you not catch up on? Open mic. And, yeah. We like our life here in Erie, Pennsylvania. It's, somebody once said there's no there. A famous quotation about Erie, Pennsylvania. And I really try hard not to denigrate Erie, PA. But, if you should be able to laugh at yourself, you should be able to laugh at your town. It's okay to love Erie. But there's a famous dignitary's wife who came to Erie, some senator's wife or something, like, well, there's no there. There's no there, she said, which I think is a good catchphrase. Like, Erie should adopt that as their catchphrase. Erie, Pennsylvania, there's no there. That was dangerously close into going into rabbledy-rap territory, coming in live in effect from Erie, Pennsylvania. No, stop. Back it up, rabbledy-brap. We don't want you on our audio podcast anymore. You are not a favorited character. But yeah, having this dog is fun. I hear all kinds of people, like, I carry around with me, we go all kinds of places, and people compare their story, like, the dog they used to take everywhere, or the cat they used to carry around on a leash. And this one guy, I'm at my mechanic, and this other guy comes in after me, and, he's way out in, like, far east side, like, way down Station Road. And, this guy tells me a story about the pet he used to carry around with him. He's like, well, what was your pet? And he's like, well, I had one of those fiddler crabs or horseshoe crabs, the one that has like a giant claw on one side and a dinky little midgy arm on the other. And he had this crab. And I was like, did you name the crab? He's like, yeah, I named him Bookman. I'm like, Bookman? He's like, yeah, the janitor from What's Happening Now? Like, oh, of course, they called him Buffalo Butt. Yeah, I recall that. All right, let me see if I can remember this. Yeah, that was the theme to What's Happening. Put that in your beat. What's happening? what's happening? Yeah, you get it. I'm not going to go into a rap about what's happening. Rerun, get it done, have some fun, son, what? No, I'm not going to do that. So, this crab named Bookman, right? So it's a crab named Bookman. I'm like, tell me more about this crab. It's like, well, this was during the 80s. So, we were heavy into coke at that time. Like, what do you mean we? What do you mean we? He's like, yeah, me and Bookman. Like, you and the crab? He's like, yeah, one day I was just doing some cocaine and I decided I was going to take a little bump and set a little tiny bump on top of his big claw, and he was mimicking my behavior, and he just went up and snuffled up the cocaine off the top of his claw, and then he was climbing around his cage, really just having a go of it. I'm like, okay, all right. You just got your pet crab that you carry around with you, addicted to cocaine with you. It's a fun story. He's like, yeah, I would go around party all the time. I'd show people at parties. I'd put a little bump, and he was like a little performer to snortle up the cocaine and dart around his little terrarium. Had a stick in there and some twigs and a leaf. Like, it's incredible. Like, but this can't last forever. Like, how does the story end? How does this story end? And he's like, well, sadly. I'm like, yeah, I could have guessed. I guess he did. One night he and Bookman were doing a little bit of nose candy together, a little Bolivian marching powder. At the end of the night, I guess he passed out or whatever, and somehow Bookman needed a fix, and somehow scrambled out of his little plastic terrarium with the red lid and popped out, and ambled his way sideways across the bed over to the open bag of cocaine, crawled in the bag of cocaine like it was a warm bed, and did his best impression of Tony Montana. So the crab goes in there, and I'm sure he, probably had too much, because in the morning the dude wakes up, he looks down, and there's a dead Bookman, a deceased Bookman, laying in his bag of cocaine. So that was quite a sad ending to that story. If we could observe a brief moment of silence for Bookman the crab, who died of a cocaine overdose in 1986. Yeah, I know, Bella. It's a sad story. It's a sad story, huh? See, even Bella was showing mad love for Bookman the crab. That's the first thing you've said today in the Pauldcast. So anyway, that was my first story of the day. I'm PJ Cote, and this is the Golden Age Pauldcast. And what we do in the Golden Age Pauldcast is we provide valuable content and creative concepts of stories that are true. I mean, maybe that's not true. I mean, the guy told me that story. Maybe he was making it up. Maybe it probably might have been better if he'd have been making that up. Maybe I'd have preferred if he'd made it up. But I'm glad that story exists in the world, and I get to now share it with y'all on the Golden Age Pauldcast to be worldwide shared on all networks, great and small. So shout out to that guy, but shame on him for getting his fiddler crab addicted to the nose powder with him. Sad story, but that's the funny stuff you hear walking around. I have another joke about Bella, but it's kind of a dad joke. I like to. This started out as like a YouTube short. I'm like, what is a ecologically friendly as well as psychologically or intellectually satisfying way of disposing of your dog's poop, rather than put it in a bag and contribute to the landfill problem? I go, well, sometimes, you just find a nice green leaf and then you leaf it alone. You stick the leaf over it lovingly, you put it down with your finger so you don't touch the poo, but, you're on the leaf side, and you just leaf it alone. And that's an ecologically friendly way to do it, not some hippie shit. And then the other thing I like to do is if you find a nice chunk of, you're near a tree and you find a nice chunk of bark, I didn't say bark, Bella. You find the bark, you cover it with a piece of bark. You cover it with a piece of bark. That's a dad joke. Please don't press back on your browser. Sorry, Bella. That joke didn't really land, huh? The reception for that joke was rough. Okay, I'm just kidding, Bella. I didn't ask you to bark. So yeah, that's what our producer does. She knows when to speak out. She guards the perimeter. I have a whole backstory I've created for Bella. She was adopted at age 10 months in Florida, in Tampa, Florida. And it was like a neighborhood. I think it was like Martinez Street or something. I know it was like an area of East Tampa that is like not so savory. So I've concocted this whole backstory about her, that she's like a trap dog. That like she lived with like another Maltese and like 2 pit bulls at like a trap house that sold all of the drogas. And she was the first line of defense, because anytime she sees or hears anything in her perimeter, she gives a little yip, and that gets the attention of the pit bulls, who get the attention of Rolando, the friggin' drug dealer, who gets attention to his AR-15 to stare out the window at, whatever impending home invaders are on their way in ski masks. So I got a whole gangsta, like Miami Vice type of background for her. Like in my head, when she answers me, I'll say something like, "Oh, maybe we shouldn't do that." She'll be like, "Stop being a bitch." I'm like, "Damn, Bella." Like Bella has like Terry Crews voice for like a 6-pound white dog. Like to me, she really is gangster. Like I think she skates like I do. Like I think she watches too much skate videos with us, because when we walk, she'll like hop up on the curb and she's like, "Look, Dad, I'm grinding. And she'll like jump the water gaps. Any water gaps, she leaps. And then, one day she jumped down from the top of a hockey net, ran down the net. Like, "Look, I'm parkouring, Dad. I'm parkouring." So it's dope having a dog. The only problem we have sometimes is like when she takes a dump, I think she feels very vulnerable. So she's always like making eye contact with me while she's taking a dump. I'm like, am I supposed to keep eye contact with her or nah? But it's rad having her. I'm a lucky dude. She's my interspecies life partner, and she also produces the show. I'm not sure if I mentioned that. Someone needs to get in with some XLRs. She's really handy with those. She's good with 3/4 inch cords and audio fixtures. She's a whiz at After Effects. My God. If I need something done in After Effects or Illustrator, I just have her do it. Too complicated for me. Or even Flash. Like, she knows some basic Flash. I'm really impressed by this dog. That's my bitch. This is my bitch. That's your girl. So, yeah. Props to anyone who's out here listening to the Golden Age Pauldcast. When people say, "What's the Golden Age?" I try to explain it as quickly as I can. We're, set 18 minutes almost into the Pauldcast right now, but the Golden Age is simply where we're already at, what we've already achieved, and what's happening if you were to turn off the fear porn and get yourself aligned with your friends, your neighbors, your family, and just practice like super deep humility and acceptance. And there isn't anything in this universe or in this world or in this galaxy that's happening that ain't supposed to be happening. There ain't anybody that was born that wasn't supposed to be born. There's no such thing as too many humans or not enough this or not enough doesn't exist. I have a kind of a radical outlook that I don't believe our human DNA really even contains competition, fear, well, other than fear that's protective for your life. I don't think the original human DNA had anything but love, empathy, compassion, respect, all these positive things, run around in the friggin' Garden of Eden. How did our DNA get somehow intertwined with competition, insecurity, jealousness, anger, rage, envy? I don't know. I'm not going to get too speculative, and, I don't like to... The Golden Age Pauldcast is not here to talk about the current things. The Golden Age Pauldcast is here to celebrate the next shit. Meaning we've transcended the bullshit. I'm going to have to make a hat or a t-shirt. Transcended the bullshit. And we've moved into some new hotness. Old and busted, new hotness. And the new hotness is what the Golden Age is when we've don't have as many bills, and we still get to live in the world, only it's retrofitted. We don't really have to worry about getting old or dying, and we can enjoy what we're here to do on Earth, and that's experience. It's like we're all gods here pretending that we're not. We've played this little game where we've forgotten we're gods so that we can experience heartache and we can experience, the ups and the downs, I guess. I was just thinking of a good, food item. I guess, we could say clam chowder from the Dolphin at Santa Cruz Pier with those little oyster crackers. That's what we're here to experience. That and getting dumped at that same place a month later and wanting to jump into the water and get eaten by the friggin' seals. So we're here to forget about it. Forget about it, huh? My buddy Parker, John Parker, he did his De Niro with Alzheimer's impression last week at the comedy. He goes, "Remember about it." I thought that was a good one. Parker's got some good bits. One of the other ones that we came up with, we were driving, I was picking him up, we were driving him back, and we seen some motorcycle cops, at the light, 3 motorcycle cops out in Avonia. And Parker looks at them, and he looks at me and goes, "Imagine getting pulled over by a motorcycle cop for not wearing your seatbelt." And just let that sink in. I'm like, that's your joke. That's your whole joke. You just say that, and then you just stare blankly at the crowd. That's perfect. That's a joke where it's a slow burner, one that, really catches up with you. And then, at some point, you're like, oh, yeah, that is kind of fucked up. So the Golden Age Pauldcast is here to provide valuable content. And I hate people, I don't like the word content, but what do you think we're doing here? We're making contents. We're filling space. At my regular job, which I have to go to in a couple hours to work on my day off, they have one of the companies we answer for is a business in Miami called Iguana Control. Now, Iguana Control is probably something that is self-explanatory. I don't think it needs any more explanation other than they control your iguana problems. As you know, iguanas are an invasive species to Florida, most of them coming from cargo ships from Cuba. And so in Miami, they're lousy with friggin' iguanas. They're on the roofs, they get into people's attics, they're a menace. And there's very few of them in Tampa where I grew up, but there's a fuck ton of iguanas in Miami. So people call, I guess, ostensibly some kind of iguana wrangler to come out and dispense with these pesky, yard dinosaurs. And a lot of people keep them as pets or whatever. I get that. That's fine. But these people don't treat them, the way I guess they're trappers, per se. I don't know if they just go out and just, shoot them. I think they might just shoot. I don't know the deets, right? But I know that there's 2 other accounts other than Iguana Control under their auspices. Because one of my coworkers was like, "Oh, Iguana Control." She was new. She's like, "What, Iguana Control? What's that all about?" I'm like, "Well, you have iguanas in your yard. They come and get them." "Oh, that's nice. Do they, are they humane towards them? Do they take them to, some kind of iguana sanctuary where they can, cavort about with other iguanas?" I'm like, I'm not exactly certain, but I don't think that's exactly what happens, what the fate of the iguanas is, to be honest with you. And then I sent her the link to the other accounts under Iguana Control, and one was called Iguana Leather, and the other was called Iguana Chum. Now, Iguana Chum, I had to remind her, no, this isn't an iguana, advocate, you're going to chum around with an iguana, or, it's a chum or a pal. That's not the application of the word chum in this instance. So she was horrified. And like that's the rule. I mean that's the cruel reality of the world. You know, some factory in Guadalajara's got plenty of iguana skin to make their crusty boots with. So yeah. The Golden Age Pauldcast is hosted by me, PJ Cote. On my Facebook profile, I put myself in as being hilarious at hilarity. So I currently have 3 jobs. Besides the dreary answering service job, I also work part-time for the Erie Seawolves. That is the AA franchise of the Detroit Tigers, MILB. Come here, Bella. Get away from the wires. Come here. Come here. Away from the wires. I don't need you, Come here. I don't need you electrocuted because you want to be a curious George-ette. All right. We're just going to try to contain our pooch if we can here. Containing the pooch on 1. So, as you know, I'm not, or maybe if you don't know, since this is a globally broadcasted podcast, the Erie Seawolves are the Eastern League champions, having won the Eastern League, which is the highest, you can get, basically the World Series, I suppose, of MILB or AA, which is one stop short of AAA, which is one stop short of the majors, for anyone who's not baseball-y. And so last season, this is my 3rd season with the Erie Seawolves, and I started out as a camera guy, filming the games from either first base, third base, or for their wireless setup, or sometimes on B-roll, taking digital SLR. One time they actually stuffed me in the Seawolf costume, and I was the mascot for a game, and I filled it out nicely. I told the GM afterwards, I'm like, yeah, I think it looks like, Seawolf had a few too many Smith's hot dogs before he squeezed into the uni for the game. So I was a mascot. I do have kind of a history of being a mascot. This is my 3rd time. Seawolf was my 3rd time being a mascot. The first time I was a mascot was in the 90s. I was the official mascot for Hillsborough County Animal Services. My name was Tags. I wore a Chuck E. Cheese style giant head dog costume with an oversized tag, encouraging children to get their tags on their dogs and kitties. And that was my first gig. We would do schools and public events. And one day I lurked at a Walmart for 3.5 hours till I almost died of heat exhaustion. And then the second time as a mascot, I was in Eureka, California at Papa John's, and they had a giant 5.5-foot oversized pizza slice costume that you could hop into. And being Humboldt County, I was probably stoned on cannabis as well as riding my skateboard. So I said, well, let's combine these things. And so I put on the pizza costume with the giant floppy oversized feet and the big dumb Mickey Mouse hands. And then I go skating up and down, cruising manuals up and down the sidewalks in front of the pizza parlor in Eureka, California, Humboldt County. And some stoners driving by, and they see me cruising a manual, and it's like a 6-foot slice of pizza. Like, whoa, bro! Oh my God, these space cannabinoid container, super gummy gumdrop, goo balls really kicking in, bro. I just saw a 6-foot skateboarding slice of pizza, bro. I think we need to get Papa John's, too sweet, bro. Quick. Can we get a hamburger and black olives again with extra Parmesan, bro? I was a 6-foot slice of pizza. And there was a video of me spinning 360, so there's a slow motion sequence of just a slice of pizza spinning in concentric circles. I really need that video. I want to dig in the crates in the archives for that footy. And then now, I was Seawolf, so 3 mascots. So one day I want somebody to be in a flame war with me or trying to heckle me, and they're like, shut the fuck up, mascot. And I'd be like, you goddamn right I'm a mascot. I'm the mascot. Represent. So, I can't complain, man. This is funny, I want to mention, ever since I started doing these podcasts and doing the open mic comedy, I've just basically been writing down words like a band with a set list and like trying to do bits based on, a word or a certain phrase, And that's all I've relied on this whole time. I got a bunch of little handwritten sheets sitting here where, like, I got all kinds of jokes written on here, just starts. Like, I want to mention one thing. Shout out to the Voodoo Brewery and Kyle and everybody working there. They hold us down every Saturday for the comedy open mic for Comedy As You Are. And they've been super cool. They've held us down, and we just want to, show my appreciation and respect. And I just want to mention this past Saturday was like a packed house for the open mic, and it wasn't really packed for like people that came to want to see comedy. There were like two large groups. One was like some kind of business or whatever, had like buffet style food set up, so there were like 40 over one area, and then the other 30 or 40 were like a group of individuals, like blind athletes. So God love them. They got the blind associated and all kinds of cool sports and stuff. But I didn't really realize when I was doing my set on Saturday that they were that it was a blind group. I saw like one blind person going toward the bathroom being helped by somebody else. I'm like, okay. But I didn't really put two and two together. But I was going to do my joke. I had a Jeff Healey band joke that I was going to do. And I'm thankful I didn't do it then, because it might have been like I didn't read the room. I didn't read the braille of the room. Okay. So, I mean, they're comedy jokes, right? So you tell the jokes, right? But part of me wishes I kind of did do the Jeff Healey joke, just completely like unaware that there was a blind group there. But I'll do my Jeff Healey band joke for y'all. So that way, if you were there last Saturday and you're blind, maybe you're listening to this now and you can laugh along with me, because, we're not making fun of the blind. We make fun of everybody, equal opportunity. So I don't know if you know who the Jeff Healey band is that I already mentioned 4 times. But the Jeff Healey band was a guy who played guitar and is blind. He's, sightless, and that's totally acceptable. And I don't know if he's born blind. I'm not, researching my jokes really. But I know that he did a song in the 90s called Angel Eyes. And the reason it's funny is, well, first of all, it has the word eyes in the title. So you're already feeling like, okay, Jeff Healey, I think he's going in on the sighted. Like, he's passive-aggressively kind of like projecting some of that, a blind guy anger at the sighted, right? So I'm not much of a singer, but I'll try to approximate a little bit. Let me get some coffee first. I make my own coffee at home. I gave you the recipe on one of the last podcasts. But one thing I forgot to mention about the coffee is you really got to drink it out of glass. You want to drink your coffee out of like a glass mason jar. Coffee. All right, so Jeff Healey band, the lyrics of the first verse, he goes, "Girl, you're looking fine tonight." I'm like, okay, but how would you know? "Girl, you're looking fine tonight." Did someone ghostwrite that for you, or did you write that yourself? I mean, maybe she's looking fine. Did you check her face with your hands? Like in that Lionel Richie video? Did you do that to make sure she was looking fine? And then the second verse goes in even harder. "And every guy has got you in his sights." Okay, sights. Every guy's got you in his sights. Again, Jeff Healey. Power off. Again, Jeff Healey, how would you know? How would you know, Jeff Healey, that every guy's got you in his sights? It's like, what you doing with a clown like me? Like, it's a great song. It's self-effacing, but it's like, yeah. In the chorus says, "What can I do? What can I say to turn your angel eyes my way?" How would you know what would work and what wouldn't, Jeff Healey band? So even the chorus is just like, turn your angel eyes. Maybe you'll feel the vibe, the aura coming towards you because you have, maybe heightened other senses. Maybe you'll intuit that she's turned her angel eyes your way, perhaps, Jeff Healey. And then even in the bridge, he's like, all you other fellas, you can look all you like. I mean, they're welcome to look all they like. How would you know? The parentheses after the angel eyes should have been like, how would you know, Jeff Healey? All you fellows, you can look all you like. I'm sure they are. I'm sure they're not even hesitating to make eye contact with your girl and just be like pointing at her, like pointing back at yourself, like, ditch him. Like doing the line over the neck, like, screw this dude, come with me. You know, just like waving the hotel key in front of Jeff Healey. So yeah, I'm glad I didn't do that blind person bit at the comedy As You Are. I like it. I think it's great, because here's a blind fella and he's going in pretty hardcore, so I can respect that. It's better than not mentioning sight. Maybe if he didn't mention sight, like, how come he didn't mention seeing things? That would have been funny. So he did, and it was funny. Thank you for being funny, Jeff Healey Band. Thank you for giving me a bit, Jeff Healey Band. I hope you're doing well, Jeff Healey. If you're hearing this podcast, please call in. I'd love to talk to you. We can do an audio podcast. For your other unsighted human friends. So yeah, when people talk to me, they ask me, how you doing? I'm a pretty upbeat guy. I'm pretty outgoing dude. And lately, when people have been asking me how you doing, I'll go, best day of my life. I'm even doing a little on the phones now. Don't tell my boss. How you doing today, PJ? Best day of my life. Sometimes they'll just stop in their tracks, like the sound effect from the cartoon, like where the record goes off the spindle. They're like, what? How's that? Like, yeah, it's the best day of my life. And then some of them get it. Like, yep, I get it. Any day you're up and vertical, any day you're 6 feet above the ground, you're good, right? Exactly. I'm up and vertical. I'm living my best life. I'm living my best life. Not going back and forth with you people. I'm living my best life. Yes. And people say, how you doing? I go, best day of my life. And then most people are cool with it. They get it. Sometimes they don't, and I explain it, but they always get, yeah, you're 6 feet above ground. You're vertical. It's the best day of your life. But I fucked up the other day. I was walking around the corner to go to Voodoo to work out some deets for the comedy night. And there's this lady, and she's pushing her spouse, her man friend, gentleman, fella guy, in a wheelchair. She's pushing him, and I'm walking around the corner. I'm all coffeeed up or whatever. I'm like, hey, how you doing? I'm good. How about you? I'm like, best day of my life. I'm like, oh, shit. Maybe don't say that to a person in a wheelchair, best day of my life. It almost felt like I was pointing it out, like look at me all mobile, using my feet to walk around. Best day of my life. Is today the best day of your life? Like, I felt shitty. But not as shitty as the one time I was working at Country Fair, and there was a guy in a wheelchair trying to get some lotto tickets, and that was like a separate counter, and he was over there waiting. I'm like, hey, I'll be right over there. Just sit tight. Yeah, don't do that. Don't tell a person who is wheelchair bound to sit tight. There's a lot of things you can ask them to do. Hey, can you hang on for a second? Can you hold on? But don't say sit tight. I wouldn't have been surprised if you'd have gone off on me. Oh, sit tight, huh? Yeah. Thanks, buddy. What else am I fucking supposed to do, friend? How much fucking tighter can I sit, friend? Sitting as tight as I goddamn possibly can, friend, to get my lotto ticket so I can maybe buy a fucking rocket car and get the fuck out of here. Sit tight. Kiss my ass. It's sitting tight in this goddamn wheelchair. Has a bed sore on it. Kiss my bed sore ass. Sit tight. I'm not saying people in wheelchairs have bed sores. That's a terrible, terrible assumption to make. How dare me? How dare I assume that somebody's wheelchair bound? Oh, speaking of wheelchair bound, we had Rob, whose last name's escaping me right now, in a wheelchair, and he performed for us. He's awesome. That's what comedy As You Are is. It's everybody in every state of affairs. I really wish somebody from the blind contingency would have been guided up there to do some jokes. Tell some jokes about being blind. Like they were told. Voodoo told them, hey, we're going to have some comedians. Feel free to join in. I really wish one of the blind individuals would have gone up and done blind jokes. We need more blind comedians. There's got to be blind comedians. If there's a blind comedian within earshot of the Golden Age Pauldcast, please hit me up. I can have Jeff Healy for the first segment. I can have, Blindy Unsighted, do their set about being blind. And, the guy in the wheelchair, Rob, he did humor about being wheelchair bound. It's beautiful. That's what I want. When Anna comes back up, Anna Sowden, I hope Anna comes back on, and when she does, I hope she does some physics humor. I was hoping to work up some physics jokes. She could do a joke about string theory, and then I could follow up with her, and I'd be like, I don't know anything about string theory, but this is the best I can suffice. And I take some string cheese, a big handful of string cheese, and throw it out to the audience. I don't know about string theory, but my theory is you're going to love eating this here string cheese. To follow her up. That'd be fine. Best day of my life. Here's one thing I don't understand, and this isn't really a joke, this is just an observation, and I guess maybe it could be workshopped later into a bit. How come there's not more goth black folks? Aren't they better suited to be goth? The white people, have to, paint their faces to look all goth and evil, whatever, But let me ask the goth white people in this world. How much face paint can you apply to darken it before you're doing blackface? At what point does goth become racist? That's why there should be more goth black people, because the goth black people don't need face paint. Maybe they could do some white parts. And then they cover themselves with white. Then now they're doing whiteface? Oh, what a mixed up world we're in. But then if you do whiteface, now you're just a mime. And I think a mime might be the opposite of goth. So if you're a black goth, don't do too much white makeup, because then you're doing whiteface and you're Marcel Marceau, and that's not goth. That's not goth. I like to sing karaoke. One of my favorite songs to do is I Started a Joke by the Bee Gees, which is pre-disco. And I like later on, after when they did the nights on Broadway, one of the producers told, I think it was Barry Gibb, to hit the high note, to really try a high falsetto. And I was wondered why. I was like to imagine if the Bee Gees, they got so, if they became mosquitoes, they're... just buzzing around you like mosquito. Now, personally, never done cocaine, but if you were to look up cocaine in the dictionary, you should see, there should just be a song that starts playing. I want a dictionary that just plays songs for appropriate things. If you were to look up cocaine in the dictionary, Emotional Rescue by the Rolling Stones should start playing. Boom, 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 boom. I'm just is there anything more cocaine than the song Emotional Rescue by the Rolling Stones? Isn't it wild how cocaine just invaded all of music for almost 10 straight years? You can just literally see how cocaine influenced music from the 60s through the 70s, and then the cocaine hangover in the early 80s, which spawned Christopher Cross and sailing. They're I don't want to do cocaine, and I just want to smoke this crappy ditchweed joint, man, of Panama Red, and sit on this fucking sailboat. Sailing takes me away. But that was cocaine. It was it peaked with disco, right? Their DJ on the WMCE local Lecom radio oldies, he described as the Village People YMCA, he described the song as violently late 70s. He described YMCA as violently late 70s, which to me is incredible. Like, something about the late 70s, the way the cars were just like giant 90-foot square coffins. They were incredible. But yeah, Lecom Radio is pretty cool. Like, but they play a lot of like politically incorrect oldies. Like, she's just 16 years old, leave her alone, they say. Yeah, of course. I don't think commercial radio, does commercial radio play that song anymore? The one about kidnapping an underage woman. If I could fly, I'd pick you up. Like, whoa, bro. Your first verse was 16. Like, whoa, what are we talking about here? You're already statutory. Like, we don't need any further. But then it's the same thing. Like, this is why we're fucked up as a society. Like, there's a double standard, right? Joan Jett, she sings like, Randy must have been about 17. But it's okay for Joan Jett to get herself a 17-year-old underage minor punk boy, right? Joan Jett, you harlot, you rock and roll hussy. Every girl in the 80s did her hair like Joan Jett, all mousy in the front. Looked like her hair exploded. Joan Jett, you're just as bad as that other guy who sings about the 16. But then there's a bunch of old 60s songs, like, or, you know, remember, was it Gary Puckett? Girl, you're a woman now, you're a woman. Like, Gary Puckett in the Union, that dude had to have been a pedo. Gary Puckett in the Union Gap. That must be some kind of, like, code for, like, weird pizza shit, right? There's a lot of weird, you know, they're still allowing these songs on the radio. She's just 16 years old. Like, does commercial radio play that? Like, no, he must have been about 17. I'm like, you know this is America, right? Yeah, Jerry Lee Lewis is still on the radio, right? I don't know what to tell you. But they've been cursing on the radio. They've been getting away with shit forever. Everyone thinks that Lady Gaga was first when she was doing, like, Poker Face. She's like, make it say fuck her face. No, the first one to do that was Brenda Lee in Rockin' Around the Christmas Tree. She's like, maybe we'll have some fucking pie. Sounded like Cartman when I said, maybe we'll have some fucking pie. Let's have some pie, guys. What's up, dude? I guess I gotta develop a Cartman impression now. Like, what would Cartman be saying? How would a Cartman I don't know. I guess I'm pretty good at impressions, right? That's what I've been told. But one of the things I like to do, I like to have fun when I'm at work, and I'm probably not supposed to really, you know, it's just like where I work, you have to be professional. Like, it's a professional service of answering phones and trying to be professional, right? So there's very little wiggle room to play fast and loose or throw a comment in here or just entertain yourself in any way. So it's really kind of like soul-sucking, because, like, for 8 hours at a time, I have to be kept in serious pants, and I will address this issue forthwith and thusly for you. If I can get your contact information, I can be assured that an expedited response will be sent out in lieu of emails directly to CC. Synergistic. Fuck, man. So, like, I just started writing down some of, like, my ridiculous responses, and, you know, whoever, you know, if you guys want to fire me, go for it. But really can't control that. But here I am on my podcast talking about it, so I promise I'll be HIPAA compliant. So, for work talk, I've said stuff like this must be an iguana control call. So I'm like, so it's just the one iguana in your backyard, sir? And this one time a guy was calling out of work, and I was like, what's the reason for your call off today, sir? And he's like, well, my cattle got out. I'm like, your cattle got out? Well, you better get to rustling. Better get to rustling that cattle. And somebody called for, like, a hose job, like, for hoses. Oh, you said the nipples are crimped? That sounds uncomfortable, sir. Hello? Mr. Likely? Can you hear me, sir? Mr. Scam? Mr. Scam Likely, are you there, sir? One day this lady had a southern accent, very southern Georgia accent. I said, I like your southern accent. I bet you make a good peach cobbler. I bet you make a good peach cobbler. Right now I'm getting a text from my job like, hey, you're fired. And then one of my jobs is like, I take an odor hotline when the dump stinks. So I'm just like, oh, so when would you say you first noticed the odor? What would you say it smells like? Yes, ladies and gentlemen, I get paid to answer the question, what does that smell like? What odor does that resemble? Would you say it's more like a rotten egg odor or more like just a dirty diaper? How would you describe the scent, sir? Is it overwhelming? Does it smell ammonia? Is it ammoniatic? Do you smell a strong ammonia, a rotten egg? Disgusting. One time somebody said they were born on October 4th, and I'm like, if I was born on 10/4, I'd have a trucker-themed birthday party every year. They're like, what? I'm like, nothing. Man. And then like certain words they'll say, and I'll just like, ooh, that's a fun word to say, fistula. Ooh, fistula. Where do you live? Shakopee? This guy lives in Shakopee. Ooh, someone said, I think it's a condition, tacrolimus. I'm like, ooh, that sounds like a transformer. Tacrolimus, transform. And this one guy for calling for a plumber at his mom's place. I'm like, all right, so let me get this right, sir. You said the back line needs snaked at your mom's house? Could we have said that a little better, sir? I didn't say that to him, but like, could you have maybe said that a little different than the back line needs snaked at your mom's house? Thank you for that. But I appreciate you guys being here. I'm having a lot of fun at the Golden Age Pauldcast. I just want you guys to know what it is. It's about me, PJ Cote, famed comic of the 4 times I've done it at the Voodoo and 4 times I've done a Pauldcast. I have mastered the art of all of them, as you can tell. I'm going to go in and edit later. I'm going to probably put this on the YouTubes with just a single frame in the background, and maybe I will intersperse some video or some pictures or some other stuff, some logos. Maybe I'll just run a slideshow of logos. But I'm going to drop all 4 of these sods at once. The thing I wanted to mention about the Seawolves is I just wanted to congratulate them on winning the Eastern Conference. I am wearing my championship ring today. I did finally get a ring. I directed some of the broadcasts as the director in charge of the TriCaster, and it's probably a replica. I don't think it's like an official, like, you're one of the major people rings, but it's still a heavy metal ring. It's a big old chunk of my finger, so I'm feeling proud, patting myself, reaching back to pat myself on the shoulder. So props to the Seawolves. If you get a chance to go out and see a game, it's a lot of fun to bring kids, to get them out there. You know, they remember stuff like that for years and years. Going to the baseball game. I did manage to get a foul ball last game. I was filming. The ball almost hit me. It bounced right into my camera zone, so I grabbed it and gave it to Brianna Malone, the beautiful host of the local news here. I think it's Jet 24, something like that. Hopefully I'm right about that. Shout out to Brianna Malone. Give me a call, you know. Gave you a foul ball. We'll go to a game. But yeah, so I just was looking at my ring and I reminisced it and I remembered. And just wanted to say props for the Erie Seawolves. So that's one of my other jobs, you know. I have multiple jobs like Jamaican man. Speaking of Jamaicans, my dad used to always say appreciate you. I think it's cool, like Southern people. Appreciate you. Appreciate you. Okay, that there Pinto gonna be fixed next week. I appreciate you. I'll tell you who doesn't appreciate you. They don't appreciate the word appreciate. In fact, it actually goes against their religion. Turns out it was the Jamaicans. Did you guys know that? Did you know the Jamaicans don't appreciate? And you know what's wrong with that? Sounds so down home and homespun, and Pop said it all the time, but the Rastafarians, not just specifically the Jamaicans, but the Rastafarians up in that upper mountainous area of Jamaica, those guys with their reggae and dance hall music. Lord of mercy, hey, Lord of mercy. You're just a hoot. Who won come for test a champion style on them Samwise selector, all of them awesome. But as irie as they are, they definitely don't appreciate. So their explanation is like the word appreciate ends with the syllable ate, A-T-E, and the Rastas believe that ate sounds like the word hate, and being the cannabis-infused peaceniks they are, these Rasta men, they try to do everything to eliminate everything not peaceful from their lives, and I can get behind that. That includes any words that include A-T-E. It's eliminate. It's not eliminate, man. It's eliminate love. We eliminate love, the number entirely out from the entire alphanumeric system, alia Rasta. It goes down like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, love. 9 and 10, sin, alia Rasta. I can appreciate love that. I appreciate love them. Don't hate. Appreciate love. Do you ever appreciate love anything in this world? Tell me what you appreciate love, and I'll tell you. But sometimes when it's cold out, I'll get the hankering for a nice hot bowl of tomato soup. And I want to pair that with a nice steamy grilled cheese sandwich to dip into aforementioned. Don't you gals and guys agree that a nice toasty grilled cheese sammy dipped into some steaming hot miter soup is just second to none? What a sublime sensation it is, the crunchy, melty, soupy, tangy combination just swimming around in your ever-loving tummy. What a tempting taste treat. And how? So, I went right out into the cold and sought immediate relief for this craving I had for miter cheese toast. Now, to be honest with y'all, I was mostly in it for the soup. The sandwich is secondary. And so I make my way over to the local, suburban cookie-cutter shopping mall center Martplex to see about satisfying this craving. So I look around, Plaza del Paseo de Saratoga, whatever pretentious-sounding name was given by the slick California urban planners. And I look around and I see at least 7 separate eateries within eyeshot that I could ostensibly order and enjoy the unique luncheon hybrid that I had in mind. Now, I don't think anyone will ever be able to fully explain why I did what I did next, but out of all of the gastronomic choices I had laid out before me, for some unknown reason I decided as my final choice to go to a place called Cheddar's. Now, listen to me very closely, and I don't care if there are any, corporate lawyers representing Cheddar's best interest out there listening, or even an employee or franchisee of Cheddar's out in the crowd or listening right now anywhere in the world, but please understand this clearly. Fuck Cheddar's. Never go there. Listen to my words. Never eat at a Cheddar's. Sue me, Cheddar's. Sue me, Cheddar's. Bring it on, motherfuckers. Bring it on. I don't give a fuck. Bring it. Come on, Cheddar's. Let's see what you got. Fuck a Cheddar's. There's no reason to go there. Well, PJ, I'm real hungry, friend, and the Red Robin is closed for a private party. Like, what am I going to do? I might starve to death. I don't care what else you do, but never go to Cheddar's. Not never. I have seen an actual black hole with my own human eyes, and it wasn't at the CERN reactor in Swaziland or wherever the fuck. No, it was in Brandon, Florida at the Cheddar's restaurant, heavy air quotes, restaurant. I felt like I was in a Cisco-supplied purgatory. It was like every employee there knew just in the depth of their hearts and collective souls that they are just not supposed to ever have been working there. Not in this life or the last or the next. Just a vacuum tube suckhole of resignation and disinterest. When you sat down in the booth, it felt like you were in the middle of a giant centrifuge that was spinning ever faster and faster towards an apathy-triggered global atomic cellular collapse. The place stank of failure and disgust. And now here was Shelley with my menu and roll-up. Won't be needing a menu, as I already know what I want, Shelley with an I-E at the end. So I follow with the simple order of grilled cheese sandwich and tomato soupage. You mean to say our artisan grilled cheese? Did I mean to say that? Did I? I find it on the menu. Artisan grilled cheese, $9.95. Wait. $10 for a fucking grilled cheese sandwich? That's just cow cheese, bread slabs, and a liberal coating of industrial lubricant on each side, right? $10? There's no avocado or side salad or free hand job under the table from the waitress included? $9.99. Well, I'm just really here for the tomato soup, but, you can't have tomato soup without a grilled cheese for dipping. I mean, you can get away with having the grilled cheese without the tomato soup, but never the other way around. Never. Not never. So Shelley says, well, it costs another $2.50 for the cup of soup or $4 if you want the entire bowl. Wow. Now we're up to $15 after fucking Uncle Sam for the supposed luncheon. All right, Shelley, bring the soup, as long as it's tomato. So then Shell, i.e., responds, right? She goes, wait, let me see what soup we're serving today. We only have 2 soups of the day. She goes back to the kitchen and she returns like, oh, I'm sorry, the soups today are like European couscous with lentil and like Hungarian goulash. What the fuck? Is that second one even a soup? Whatever happened to fucking minestrone or cream of potato or just good old-fashioned bland-ass tomato soup? So then she tells me tomato day is Wednesday. Awesome. It's not even going to be Wednesday even once today. Since when do I need a fucking calendar to order soup? So I tell her, go heat up some from the freezer. Today is Thursday. I'm almost positive there should be some leftovers back there somewhere. No one needs tomato soup anymore. All right, Shelley, now that we've resolved our soup quandary, please explain to me how this $10 grilled cheese qualifies as artisan. Artisan, as we all know from the Greek artisanatus, meaning tack on 2 unnecessary dollars. What exactly is artisan about a grilled cheese, pray tell? The artisan grilled cheese is, and then she leans over my shoulder to read the description from the menu as I could have. 2 different varieties of the finest Wisconsin cheddars, and then they tack on a liberal amount of Bermuda Gouda, and it's on artisan Pacific sourdough crusty loaf dusted with potato flour and garnished with grill marks. What the fuck did you just say? Bermuda Gouda? What exactly is a Bermuda Gouda? Well, I don't know. I assume it's a Gouda made in Bermuda. And I'll bet you your entire fucking paycheck that Bermuda has never once produced cheese for export. That's a gimmick. Hang on. Wait. So what you mean to tell me is that the principal reason I'm paying $10 for the sandwich is on account of jagged bread? Oh, and then we also cut the sandwich fancily, diametrical, you mean diagonal? Yeah, like the TV, diagonal cut. I'm like, yeah, I remember. My mom used to cut my PB&Js the same way when I was 6 fucking years old. Does that make her an artisan too? Does this meal also include a 7-ounce Welch's jelly jar with Tom and Jerry on it and filled with equal amounts of Tetley Sun Tea and Weiler's lemonade? Because that was my mom's jam, and if the diagonal bread cut is any kind of qualifier, turns out mom was artisan as fuck. I got right up and took my business to a more reputable eatery, the Old Spaghetti Factory. And that was my grilled cheese bit, and that's one of my favorite bits. And I guess I don't feel that strongly about cheddars anymore. So, call off the dogs, cheddar guys. Can't sue me. I mean, it's just a joke, right? But you gotta admit, cheddar's just kind of white bread for the most part, right? So, I am looking through the printed stuff. Like I was mentioning previous, I've just been freestyling off these little pieces of paper that have, just a tiny little start. Like one of my starts is it's good to have a nice healthy sense of irony, right? It's good to have a nice sense of irony. like for instance, like it's ironic that the most commonly misspelled word is loser, spelled with 2 O's. It's like they see the 2 O's and they start to get real fast and loose with the English language. Spelling is for losers. So, as well as doing a podcast and being a champion skater, disc golf guy, dog dad, etc., I've also recently started a post-math art post-rock band. Started a band recently. And yes, you know, like my modern art that I do, it's also very experimental, very avant-garde in its leanings. It's a post-math art post-rock band, very highbrow. The name of the band is from the acronym for a series of tiny pink toys I collected as a child. I named the band Millions of Unusually Small Creatures Lurking Everywhere. Sentence bands are super in vogue in the post-rock milieu. And so we're a very, very complex and complicated musical outfit. The lineup consists of me, a 1960s G.I. Joe doll with the fuzzy hair removed, and my Aunt Glenda. Our first record, the eponymous EP, consists of only 2 songs, but they're both 46 minutes long. The first song, titled Early Transgressional Polyglyphs of Grandiose Kumquat Colloquialisms, starts out with me playing the triangle in a concentric circle for the first 12 and a half minutes. Then I go over to the piccolo, and I play a set of 10 scales that I lifted from a John Cage composition from 1910. That goes on for almost 20 minutes. And then for the end of the song, we bring in a large bird cage stocked with a variety of adversarial avian breeds that just do not get along well in captivity, and then we just proceed to shoot them with water guns from every angle, generally just terrorizing these birds with the water pistols as we record their frenzied flaps and distressed chirps. So I put that on a loop. And then we kick over the drum kit and we record that, and we put that on a loop for about another 15 minutes, and that's the end of the first song. So pretty cool stuff. And then for the second 46-minute number, we pull out all the stops. What do you guys hear about this one, right? The song is titled The Inexorable Ghost of Amaranthian Type 11. Super cool, right? So first thing, we bring out like 6 timpani, right? These just giant oversized drums. And what do we see hanging all over these huge drums as they're wheeled out? But these little, capuchin monkeys, right? And they have little miniature coconuts strapped to their tiny hands, right? Just rubber banded on there, right? And then these monkeys just start banging out this frenzied rhythm all over the huge drums with their little taped down meat hammers. And then I come out of nowhere with these chains, and I'm rattling these chains and kind of just moaning softly like a ghost. And now here comes Aunt fucking Glenda, and she's rocking this large piece of extruded aluminum metal, like a 3x3 piece of fucking steel, and she's just wobbling that shit, wobbling that shit as hard as she can with her arthritic rheumatoid hands. God love her. I don't know how she does it, Aunt Glenda. Shout out to Aunt Glenda. And then to wrap the whole thing up, right, we bring out the terrorized wet birds in the big cage again, and here comes another round of water pistols and, coconut monkeys and desperate, duressed, eardrum-piercing squawks and wet flapping, and then we turn the water guns on the crowd, we start shooting them, and then we record their reaction, and then we put that on a loop, and then for the final cacophonous crescendo, we bring out the entire Woodland Review. Get this. The Woodland Review consists of a 4-legged collection of various singing and bleeding animals that could out-croon any spandex-legged glam rock frontman from anywhere. So, who needs Sebastian fucking Bach when you got 4 Madagascar hissing cockroaches, 3 laughing hyenas, an eastern diamondback rattler, and a fucking screech owl? Now that's a fucking show right there. That's worth $4 donation at the door. The Woodland Review. A 4-legged concoction of various singing and bleeding animals who would out-croon any spandex-legged glam rock frontman anywhere. Who needs Sebastian fucking Bach when you got 4 Madagascar hissing cockroaches, 3 laughing hyenas, an eastern diamondback rattler, and a fucking screech owl? Now that's a fucking show right there. That's worth $4 donation at the door. I wanted to repeat that last part because I liked it. And it was funny. You can tell that must qualify me as an indie rock comedian. I must be an indie comic. I'm an independent. What does independent mean? It's like you say things that people don't really like and you're not very normal. You're not very normal. That's fine. I'd rather be not normal. So I'm going through, like I was saying, I've just been freestyling off paper, but now I finally printed shit out, and I have this, epic tome of jokes that I'm cycling through, because what are we doing? We're doing an hour and a half. I don't work at my other job till 4. So, as you guys know, I like to foist on you my good ideas. PJ Cote is known as an ideas man. I have ideas. I want the world to know about them. They need to know about my ideas. I'm a good idea man. As a dedicated skate rat, we come up with all kinds of nicknames for our skateboards. The rig, the stunt wood, the shred sled. My favorite one is the shred sled. That's my idea. I like that name so much I want to open up a skateboard shop and call it the Shred Sled Shed. Come on down to the Shred Sled Shed today. If you can say the name of our business 5 times, you get 20% off for life. I'm Rap Brad Rabbly Brap for the Shred Sled Shed. I fucked it up. You're fired, Rap Brad Rabbly Brap. But like when you meet people, they want to know what you do for a living. You know, I'm just telling them I'm a comic now. What do you do for a living? I'm a comic. Oh, fuck yeah. You're a comedian. This guy's a comedian. Tell me a joke. Tell me a fucking joke. What other fucking career do they do that in? Oh, I'm an architect. Fuck yeah, you design me a building right now with no preparation, no planning, in front of everybody on the spot. Just one internationally recognized award-winning design. Come on, you said you're a fucking architect. You're a professional, right? You're on the spot, and it sucks, dude. You know, it's really hard to just, like, come up with a joke. Someone's like, you're a comedian, tell me a joke. Like, I can't even come up with a joke. I only have one joke that I can remember, and it's fucking terrible, and it's mildly racist. They'll be like, tell me a joke. Tell me a fucking joke right now on the spot, freestyle. Come on, Mr. Freestyle Rapper, tell me a joke. Why is it so easy to freestyle rap and impossible to come up with a fucking joke, right? So I'll be like, tell me a joke right now. I'd be like, the only one I can think of off the top of my head. Like, what do you call a Mexican mountain climber? Carabiner. God damn it. That's the best you can do, Mr. Comedian. Mr. Comedian. I'm telling you, dude. Girls these days, man, they're high standard. They want it all. They want the cake. They want to eat it. They want the whole 9 yards. They don't want to earn it either. No siree. No, they just want to, like, be cute and look the part and then just show up and kind of draft behind you on your way to Easy Street. They want to get in. They wouldn't want to do anything messy like, you know, put in the time or dedication or unwavering faith even in the hard times or being there by your side to help you build a brand or anything worky like that. No. They're not down to swab the decks at first, you know, be a cadet. They couldn't fathom the idea of, like, rock and greenhorn status. They want the instant gratification. The officer's pin without the officer's school. These girls want it. I'm going to give it to them. I'm not going to fight it. Can't beat them. Can't beat them, so I join them. Got to join them. I'm going to be as accommodating as possible. Time to lease a Land Rover. You know, I'm no main source, but, you know, I can get down with faking the funk. Why not? So to prove it to you, ladies, I'm going to a world-renowned plastic surgeon. And since basically, you know, women want it all, they want you to just basically come gummy bears. I'm going to do it. I'm going to get a procedure done. It's going to make me quite a catch with the lady folk. Not a bigger schlong, not a purtier face. I'm going to go in for a G-bub. Now, what's a G-bub, you might ask? Well, a G-bub stands for gummy bear urethral bypass. In a 10 to 12-hour surgery, Dr. Goldfarb runs a bypass tube through the center of my taint in the chodal territory zone up to the urethra, taps in with a T-bar intercept shunt right there, and then with the other end of the tube, it leads into a fanny pack fastened around my waist containing a small supply of pineapple gummy bears. While in no way interfering with normal urinary function, the G-bub is designed to bypass the normal urethral function only in the case of an ejaculation, so that instead of the sticky, unmanageable, and often awkward-smelling natural fluid that typically emanates from your average male, our patient, namely me, emits only a small stream, typically 10 cc's, of miniature pineapple trolley gummy bears. Pineapple, of course, being the preferred choice, not just for its flavor, but for also its color profile, which more closely resembles the semen it replaced, especially when wet. And, you know, by both genders, they agreed it's a most nostalgic reminiscence of the spooge of yesteryear. So now the sexual act is so much more awesomer if you choose to do it with me, because now there can be nothing unpleasant about me just finishing up wherever. Who's feeling snacky? The only drawbacks you have to come in gummy bears is that you have to keep your fanny pack on at all times, even in the sack, which I admit is kind of weird, sort of hipster, seeing a dude totally naked except for his fanny pack, unless that's something you're into. You could be into it. Another drawback is, you know, when you had a wet dream the night before, because then you wake up stuck to your sheets by the gummy bears, right? Why me Superman myself? and you Superman yourself, and then you have to eat all the gummy bears off in order to escape your bed in the morning. But that's like free breakfast, so I don't think I would really mind. So that was my G-Bub bit. That was a bit that I wrote when I was in Los Angeles, California. And it's about the girls in LA. They want it all. They want you to come gummy bears. I don't know how I came up with it. It's like these girls want you to ejaculate gummy bears. So I figured out a way to incorporate the gummy bear bit into a thing. I thought it was a cool visual. Me in a naked, except for a fanny pack with a packet of gummy bears ready to get spooged out of my ween dog. Anyway, I should move on. Should probably move on from all this dirty business. So I'm going to tell a quick story here that I just think sounds good in the context of what I'm doing here. Once again, we're providing valuable content and information and reminiscences and fun of the Golden Age here in the Golden Age Pauldcast. Once again, I'm your host, PJ Cote. And I'm going to take a swig of my coffee, and then I'm going to tell you the story of me taking a Greyhound bus to California. From Dallas, Texas to LA. The title of this is, Do I Still Smell Like the Lavatory of a Greyhound Bus? It's been 5 months. I feel like I still smell like the lavatory of a Greyhound bus. So I took the Greyhound bus from Dallas, Texas to Los Angeles, California. And you do not have to be Sylvia Brown or Miss Cleo or possess a crystal ball to predict the level of unpleasantness of this trip. If you said the pleasantness level was minimal, you were right. I had not taken a Greyhound bus in many moons and was surprised to hear that they had a toilet on board for my convenience now. Perhaps they've always had toilets, but for some reason I was surprised at the development. That's how long I've been on a Greyhound. Bathroom on a Greyhound bus is an awesome idea until the door doesn't close right any longer. Then it becomes a rolling porta potty. Whee! The smell permeates everything. It's like you're still in there even when you aren't. The Greyhound bathroom utilizes all of your senses to constantly remind you that it is now a new and overpowering feature of your Greyhound experience here to stay. I'm truly convinced that I still smell like that blue urinal cake. If you are an undiagnosed hypochondriac or obsessive-compulsive in any way, do not ride the Greyhound. Trust me on this one. It's like a traveling petri dish for many, many hours on end. And like with many other creatures that you would prefer not to be hanging out in the same petri dish as for almost 30 hours. All the while surrounded by all variety of microorganisms of the variety typically seen on a petri dish. So it can't end well. As soon as you hear the first sneeze, right, you think to yourself, Jesus Christ, there's no escaping that saliva and phlegm cloud that is wafting over here as we speak. No problem, I'll just crack this window right here and get some fresh... Whoa, not so fast, Buster. Der Führer says no window access for you. So you don't even get to open the fucking window? And now you have some filthy latrine opening and closing all day night. And then everyone gets off the bus and walks into the 7-Eleven and buys Hot Pockets and chili cheese dogs and Cool Ranch Doritos and fucking chicharrones and huge colas and coffees. And everyone gets back on the bus and fucking munches it up and then belching and farting it all out. And now you're rebreathing all this shit into your human body, just inescapable, permeating your flesh. Eventually you just grow an oily sheen of protective filth. This coating that acts either as a hermetic seal that locks in the funk or blocks out all the exotic diseases circulating in there that would have killed you otherwise. So at one point in like El Paso, I think we swapped out for a new driver, right? This guy is a fucking treasure. His name is Raj. It might have been Raj, like R-A-J, but no, he looked more like a Roger that you would call Raj, right? He fucking had the mirrored aviator glasses, big black dude, proud, loud, and in charge. All right, y'all, my name is Raj, and I ain't sure how the rest of them do it, but I'm going to let y'all know I'm fixing to tell y'all how it's fitting to go down. Y'all best to pay attention. Now, I run a tight ship here, and I expect y'all to be on the same page with me, so y'all best to pay attention. All eyes on me right here. If I catch any one of y'all in the bathroom drinking on some alcohol, smoking any of that funny stuff, I'm going to tell you what. Now, the Texas police love us around here because we give them lots of business. They make lots of money off Greyhound people. And I ain't afraid to kick y'all out the bus and remand you right over to the custody of them Texas police, and they will take you on out of here. I done kicked out women and children off this bus for doing that funny stuff. Now, this is going to be an overnight drive, and I expect y'all to be real quiet and peaceful and pass out real quick so we can have a smooth ride to Duarte. Now, sit back and relax. I got this. Or just, words to that effect. Raj wasn't playing the radio. I felt a little safer for this leg of the trip, to be honest with you. So, not even 30 minutes into this ride, I start to feel my eyes, start to burn. My eyes are burning, right? And, I guess some girl in the back... next to the rancid commode, I guess. She had a broken leg or something. She was in one of those, full leg air casts. And was just, trying to apply some, Ben Gay or something to her, aching muscles all stretched out in the back of the bus. Or maybe she was just trying to block out the smell of the latrine. That might have worked. So out of fucking nowhere, right, the bus just slams to a stop in the middle of the slow lane of the freeway. So I'm like, oh, shit. I thought Raj had just, seen an accident or, was stopping for a deer or something ahead of him, but no, he's not. There's no road hazard, right? Raj pulls over in the middle of the fucking road, right? He gets out of the bus, puts it in park, and just stomps to the back of the bus. All of a sudden, he's like, "Who got that Ben Gay?" I'm like, oh shit. Damn, Raj is pissed. Who got that Ben Gay? Bro, he demands to know, but no one's fessing up, right? More silence. Meanwhile, the obviously guilty party's fucking maroon broken leg air cast is just poking straight out of the back like a guilty raised hand. And then the meek offering from the injured girl, she's like, it was me. Now, finding his target now, Raj went on to loudly and angrily lambaste her in front of everybody on the bus. He was reading her the riot act, talking about, this is a prohibited chemical composition on this bus. You could make someone go into anaphylactic shock. They would have to emergency room with allergic asthma attack. What do you think? And I'm like, whoa, dude, he's really grasping at straws. Whoa, Dr. Raj, such an astute medical diagnosis. So let me get this straight. You get the anaphylactic shock from the allergic asthma attack? Ooh, I can understand your concerns. I thought he was about to smack the poor girl, but instead, he reaches up real fast and brusquely threw open the emergency roof vent hood thing, and then we drive at angry guy top speed for the next hour as the wind is flapping in your faces. Well, the wind is flapping in our face while we sat in the back with a big chilly windy vent hole open. Fucking Raj. Raj is a dick. So when I got off that 28-hour bus ride, the only thing I could think about was taking a shower. Just a 20-minute, hot as you can stand it, full blast, hot water needle shower. Just a sandblast off that 72 hours worth of filth and mung and muck and communicable social disease. To finally melt away that greasy sheen of cross-country communal coach transit forever. And I had my big old backpack with my toiletries, and Mom sent me across the country with brand new green terry washcloth from her personal stash so I could scrub up nice with soap and water when I get to Hollywood, right? And then you finally get in, you unpack, and you head to the bathroom and lock the doors, and you just crank on the shower, and the water's just blasting at top PSI. It gets hot enough, and you're steaming and misting up all over the place. And then you just bust out the washcloth and you're just fully committed to fine detail in your whole body, really elbow grease it, just scrub away all those dirty memories of those knuckle-dragging mouth breathers you were forced to share all those hours with, and all that toxic, common, chili dog air, that rolling germ lab. And then you lather up the soap in your new green terry washcloth and you double it over and scrub to get all the soap lathered up proper, and you're rubbing your hands together with the washcloth like an old pioneer woman scrubbing a shirt against a washboard. You're just 100% committed to soap integration. And you just lean down and you start from the bottom with your feet and you just move up to your calves and knees and you're detailing the undercarriage and scrubbing your chode and going up around the bend and you douche out the pits up to the... fuck, shit. I started the washcloth attack at foot level. Bad start, knowing what comes next, all of everything. Now it's too late. Too late. I didn't realize until I finished scrubbing my pits. I'm like, face next? Oh, wait, no good. You got to start from the top with the washcloth, where it's clean. Dude, the soap bar doesn't matter where you start, right? You can just rinse off the soap. It's like you can't forget it. Like, it's not like you can unremember that you just used a washcloth on your nuts imitating Jesus, with the bowling ball cleaner in the Big Lebowski, right? But you try. Now you're trying to wash the washcloth, right? You wrap it around the shower head and you try to let the water cascade your humiliation away. But then you just remember only moments before you'd stuck the washcloth into your ass and you were giggling while it hung down like a soapy tail as you exclaimed, "I'm a little pony boy and I have a gelding tail." But you can still try. You turn the washcloth over inside out and wrap it around the shower head again, like you're trying to rinse out a towel in the Boy Scouts, and you look close to see if there's any random pubes still sticking out of it, and there are. And then you sigh and you scrub it on itself again like the pioneer woman again on the washboard, and you wring it out like the camper in the canoe when you just dropped your towel into the river and you're trying to wring it out, all the yucky moisture memories. Ugh. So that was the last time I ever used a fucking washcloth. So R.I.P. washcloths in my life. From now I'm just going to stick the bar of soap up my ass. Guests, bring your own bar of soap when you come over so you can stick it up your ass too. But thanks for trying, Mom. It couldn't have been predicted that I would be this inept. This isn't a reflection on you, Mom, I promise. So I think I'm done reading through the archives. There is so much content that can be contented on the Golden Age Pauldcast. And I would love to be able to do all of the things all of the time, but then the work goes, "Hey guys, you gotta go to work, you're gonna do the thing." So I'm gonna go to work. But a podcast is my work too. I love where I play and I play where I work. Anyway, this is the Golden Age Pauldcast. I think I've pretty much worn out my welcome today. I'm going to finish my coffee. I hope my audio levels have been sufficient. I will adjust them thusly and accordingly. But I just want to appreciate everybody for what they've been doing so far. We're going to try to dump all 4 of these podcasts out at once on the YouTubes and to the distro networks. I do hope I've provided enough valuable information today, kind of like a Lake Wobegon days, telling some stories that I've written down. One day I'm going to put out a book of comedy and I'll package it to look like one of those corny joke books, like PJ Cote's big book of jokes and humor, like big dumb yellow red text and big roundy fonts, and just put all my jokes in one place for a joke depository. Anyhow, the Golden Age Pauldcast, we're here to celebrate the good times and celebrate being alive, skateboarding, filming, comedy. Definitely want to get any skater who does comedy so we can double up. And then disc golf being the side niche. We're going to side niche with that. And Erie, Pennsylvania is another side niche. Another invite, if in case you didn't hear it the first time, for Tim Grow at the Q Abides. I'd like to try to have you on the show if you're down for it. And we'll do a video one so we can show everybody the burnt meat and we can eat all the burnt ends and look at all the goodness. Because it just wouldn't be the right thing on an audio podcast, I don't think. Hopefully my sound has been good today. We're going to keep this thing going. And I feel like I've provided all the goodness. If you do any of the socials, I'm on Insta at Cote Comedy, COTE Comedy. The YouTube channel is the Golden Age TV Show. I'm on Twitter or X. X gonna give it to you. You gonna give it to you. X is just Paul Cote, Paulcote. And Facebook as PJ Cote. I like to keep my brand as thin as possible so that, encourages people to try to find me, which sounds like anti-marketing. And maybe it is. I make you search for me. I'm like a mysterious woman. I make you seek me out. The music's cartridge.bandcamp.com. And the Golden Age is going to be doing stuff soon, so there'll be t-shirts, skateboards, hats, other accessories. If you want a sticker pack or some Golden Age stickers or something like that and you're within earshot, please hit me up. Let me know. Send me your address, something. Hit me up at Cote Galaxy, COTE Galaxy at Gmail. Request a sticker or request some goodies and postcards or whatever. I'll fire them over to you. For Bella Ace, my fine and venerable producer, my name's PJ Cote. And I'm going to say au revoir from the Golden Age Pauldcast and play my outro music. And so now it's time to power on to my ghetto bullet. Power on.
Bluetooth pairing.
And this is how we wrap things up in the Golden Age Pauldcast. See you later. Thanks so much for your time. Much love to everybody in the world. Here's our outro music, which is the end of the intro music. It's the Golden Age Pauldcast, brought to you by the Golden Age. For Bella Ace, aka Bella Ace, I'm PJ Cote. Much love from the Martian landscape, and like my dad once said, I'll go jump in the lake. Go jump into the lake. That was pitchy. Go jump in the lake, everybody. I'm PJ. Go jump in the lake.